Hello, welcome back to my channel. I actually wore the correct color this week. That was a total accident. You are gonna see me reading books with orange or yellow on the covers. I'm continuing on with what I did last week, which was reading red books. And I'm having fun with it, although I think I'm going to take a week or two off and just read some books that I need to read instead of moving straight into green. So this week I wanted to sit down and read. There was like 6 books that I wanted to read that were orange or yellow. I really could have done them as separate weeks, but it's really hard for me to distinguish where to draw the line between orange and yellow. And I thought that I was possibly gonna have this be a 2-week vlog, but it got cut short because of reasons. I only read 3 books, but I set out to read 6. So the books that I ended up actually accomplishing are Black God's Drum by P. Jelly Clark. There's lots of orange on here, as you can see. I read The Invisible Life of Addie Larue by V.E. Schwab, which was an accident. I wasn't planning on reading this week, but my library sent it to me and I was so thrilled I had to pick it up, and it has all the yellow on the stars and everything, so it works. And then I also picked up Race the Sands by Sarah Beth Durst, which I didn't finish, but I was able to tell you a lot about it as the video continues on. So the other books that I wanted to read this week but just did not get my hands onto, and I'm gonna still tell you what they are because you're gonna probably be seeing them in future vlogs very shortly, was Sins of Empire by Brian McKellen, Bell of Ascension, and Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. They all have lots of orange on them. I have just not been in the mood for my traditional reading stuff. I've been not in the mood for audiobooks. I actually, this week that you are about to see was my first full week at my new job. So I'm now working 40 hours a week. So I think part of it is that because I'm just exhausted from full-time work now, but I'm really excited to bring you my reading week. So I've officially started the Black God's Drum. I don't have anything to hold up for you all because my library doesn't have the physical copy, it just has the audiobook, so I am listening to it. And I started it earlier today at some point, and then I had to pause, but I think I'm gonna finish it right now because I have like 40 minutes left in the audiobook and I'm pretty interested and I need to go on a walk, so why not listen to it? This is the story of a young girl, I believe she's like 13 years old, Black girl growing up in New Orleans. I think it's a distant future New Orleans, but also like past New Orleans. I wasn't enjoying myself at the very beginning because of how confusing the things I'm about to say were for the book, but I'm enjoying myself a lot now for a short story. I don't think this will be like something super duper amazing just because of how short it is. I don't jive with short stories, but I'm enjoying it. It takes place in the future. There's these like airships, but also there is the Civil War happening, and so there's lots of Confederate soldiers in the town like hunting down illegal slaves who have freed themselves illegally, and this girl grew up in a brothel and she's trying to escape, and she thinks that right at the beginning she gets the ticket to get out of there. I'm listening to it. I probably won't tell you guys any more of the summary, but I'll let you know how I feel at the end of the book, which should be very shortly. So I finished Black God's Drum, which I didn't love, honestly. I ended up rating it 3 stars, but I think it honestly is closer to 2.5, and I might just go write that in my notes. It was too sci-fi for me, and it was too short story for me, which are 2 things I don't necessarily love, but I read another book by this author that was short story, kind of sci-fi-esque, and I really enjoyed it, and that one was The Haunting of Tramcar 015. I really enjoyed that one, so I thought I would give his other stuff a shot. I'm still gonna try more stuff by this author because I think this one was a weird fluke, honestly, for me. I think I told you already that it's kind of like future but Civil War timey. So she is like followed by this god that was brought over in like the minds of her people when they came to New Orleans from Africa, or brought there as slaves. And this god is like with her and kind of tells her what to do and whispers her things. And she's trying to book passage on this ship to be like a crew member, and she tries to trade some information that she learns about the Black God's Drum, which is this awful weapon, in exchange for her being on this ship. And so she gets in touch with the captain, who also happens to like be spoken to by the gods, but by a different god, but the 2 gods that they're both spoken to by are sisters. And I just didn't care at any point. There was nothing in the story that pulled me in or made me care or made me want to keep reading. Honestly, I could have stopped the book at any point and would have been fine. My first orange book of the week is done. So I wasn't planning on starting this right now because my library said I had like a 10-week wait, but it magically came. So I started The Invisible Life of Addie Larue, and I can see how you would argue this book is not yellow or orange, but the text is yellow and it's like the only color versus black, so I'm counting it. I think it would be really, really funny if every single time I went to talk about this book, I pretended like I had forgotten that I had already talked about this book. Because in case you don't know the story of Addie Larue, she is a woman who makes a deal with the devil. He's not the devil. If you read it, you'll understand. In order that she can live forever, but everyone who meets her will forget her. I was really hesitant to pick up this book and read it, which is why I got a copy from the library instead of buying it myself. For one, V.E. Schwab and I are on hesitant. That's not the right word. Sometimes I really love her and sometimes I really don't. And it seems to be like there's no middle ground. Either I'm like 4 or 5 stars or I'm DNFing her books. And the phrase in this one's summary where it was like, until one day she meets a man who does remember her or something like that, just made me cringe. I was like, ugh, she's probably gonna fall in love with him and I don't care and bleh. So far in the book, she has not met the man that remembers her, and I'm really, really, really enjoying the book. Like, I don't know if I would say it's a 5-star at this point, but I'm really curious and I'm really intrigued and I'm wanting to continue to listen. Addie Larue unfortunately falls into the like stereotypical I'm not like other girls type character, which is really odd because she's 32 through most of the story, and you'd think by that point in her life she'd be more accepting of like, oh, my friend wants to be a mom and have kids and do that thing and I'm happy for her even though it's not what I want with my life. It is what it is. I understand that I'm someone who doesn't want kids, and I understand that the world kind of, especially for women, ignores that and tells you things like you'll change your mind one day or you'll change your mind when you meet the right man or whatever, and it's really frustrating to hear that constantly, not just directly told to you, but also through media telling you that, through the stories that are told in the world, all of them ending with this independent woman giving up her independence so that she can be a wife and a mom. It can get really frustrating and it can wear you down. But on the other hand, we as women who don't want to take that path need to be happy for women who do. And so that's my only issue with the book. And it's not that she's unhappy for her friend, it's just that she looks down on her friend's choices and she's like, ooh, that path is really gross and I don't like it and it's not as good as my choices. So that's where my issue lies. But the writing is really good, the atmosphere is really good. Like I said, I'm really intrigued by the book and I want to keep going and I want to know more. I don't know exactly how long this book is going to take me. It's not as long as I thought it was going to be. I think the audiobook is like 15 hours-ish. So I'm kind of hoping I can finish it tomorrow. But also, you know, if I don't finish it all in one sitting, I'm going to forget the beginning. I'm going to have to start over and then the book will take me forever to get through at that point. Let's see how many times I make that joke in this video. I'm home from work and I'm so busy at work. I'm not even listening to much of my audiobook while I'm there. I think I listened to about an hour of Addie Larue today. I also can't believe I forgot to tell you I started Addie Larue, which is a really great story. I'm really loving it. It's about this woman who trades immortality in exchange for no one remembering her name, no one remember anything about her. I'm like 35% through right now, I think. I'm really close to the end of part 2. I can't remember how many parts there are, like 6 probably. And I'm really enjoying it. Right now, I'm starting to get to know the darkness a little bit more, which is the person, God, being that she made this deal with. He reminds me a lot of what the Darkling could have been. And so that excites me. And I really like his character and I want to know more about him. I also am really curious about, I think his name is Henry. It's the guy who can remember Addie Larue. He definitely seems to have some kind of thing about him where everyone is impressed by him or wants to impress him or is taken back by him or thinks he's attractive. And I'm really curious to know, because he can remember Addie Larue, I'm curious to know if his deal like outweighs hers. I'm pretty convinced at this point, and it's not a spoiler because I don't know for sure, that he is going to be Addie's undoing, because Death is trying to get Addie to basically give up her life at this point, because the deal was that he would give her as much time as she wanted, but she would have to give up her soul when she was done with that time. She can live forever. I keep calling him Death, but he's not Death, he's Darkness. Darkness comes and visits her every year and is like, are you ready to give up now? And he's trying to make her life as miserable as possible. And it's really, really interesting. And every year she gets more and more determined to never give up her life to him. So I'm like 100% convinced that Henry is going to be the reason that she gives up her life in the end. I don't know for sure. You know, like that just kind of seems like the stereotypical plot, which is why I'm going towards it. But I'm really enjoying it. I think at this point it would be a 4-star, but has full potential to get a 4.5 by the end of it. That's all I can really say. Ooh, I hope you can't hear that in the background. So I finished Addie Larue at work today, which, have I told you guys that I started reading Addie Larue? It's a story about this woman who is forgotten by everyone she meets in exchange for eternal life. I really enjoyed it. I had some issues with the book, but for the most part, I really, really liked it. Let's see if I can get into the shade here. Okay, yeah, this is how we film now, in a parking lot squatted down between cars. So I think my biggest issue with Addie Larue is that she's kind of a special snowflake. She has this like mentality of she's not like other girls and she can't be like them, and I understand that to write this story she had to be that way, but she's very selfish. She's just very selfish in all of her decisions. Like, she kept blaming this god that she made this deal with for the deal that happened, and I'm like, Addie, listen, hun, you made this deal. You fully knew not to make a deal with these gods. You fully knew that bad things were going to happen, and yet you keep blaming him and other people for these decisions that you've made and the consequences that happened to you. I just wasn't a huge fan of that, but I really loved the book. I really loved the story. I do think that it kind of leans, the ending wasn't great. And by that, I want to explain, if you've read the book, you know that the ending is kind of not left open, but sort of left open. I'm fine with leaving endings open. I think that was a great decision. I'm fine with the whole entire idea of the book being written by who it's written by. That was great too. The part of the ending I didn't love, how it kind of just all seemed to happen really quickly, and I wish we could have flushed out the ending. Okay, this one's leaving my ear. I can't do this. How the ending just kind of happened really quickly and it just got wrapped up. So it just felt like the ending was so much faster than the rest of the book, and I didn't like that. So I wish that the ending, like the last part 7 was only 3 chapters long, and that was fine. Part 7 was absolutely fine. It was like the last 3 chapters of part 6 that I wish could have been like 6 chapters instead of 3. I felt like we got hinted at by a lot of the things Addie did, and we didn't actually get to see as many of them. And you know what? Fair. We didn't need to see a ton more, but it was predictable, and I will say that how I thought the book was gonna go was pretty much how the book went. But I really enjoyed it. I think V. Schwab did a great job with the writing. I, for the most part, really liked the characters. I found myself rooting for Luke the entire book, which, like, if you know me, fair, that's kind of how I am with books. So in the end, I ended up rating it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is a great book. I highly recommend it to people. The audio was really, really good, but it's not like a new favorite 5-star read, but it's really close, honestly. I'm going to leave you here with that, and let's hope I don't forget the entire book by the end of this vlog. Hello, good morning. It's been a few days since I've talked to you guys. I've just been kind of busy, but I started a new book, and I wanted to say, I'm sorry I keep forgetting to tell you about Addie Larue, but it keeps leaving my mind and I just don't think to talk about her. I feel like at this point you guys know what the book is about, like other people have talked about it, but one of the things I was wanting to say, and I guess just never said it to you all because I keep forgetting to talk about Addie Larue. There's this whole entire idea in the book that Addie is forgotten, but the god that she made the deal with mentions a few different times, hey, people may forget who you are, but they won't forget how you made them feel. I think I would have rated the book 5 stars. I totally would have rated the book 5 stars if it had gone more in that direction, instead of the book being exactly what I thought it was going to be, which was woman is forgotten, finds man who doesn't forget her, falls in love, has to make some kind of sacrifice. Instead of being like that, I think I would have really, really enjoyed the book if it was like woman is always forgotten, finds man who doesn't always forget her. The two of them together use their weird curses to counterbalance each other and help bring good things to the world and to help make other people's lives better. That's the final thing I wanted to say about Addie Larue. Can't believe I haven't told you anything about Addie Larue except for that. So I have officially started Race the Sands. I am really enjoying it. I'm about 25% through. I'm listening to the audiobook, which means I'm going to be able to tell you about it, but I'm not going to be able to tell you any of the characters' names because for whatever reason, when I listen to audiobooks, I don't absorb names. So we're pretty much following 4 characters. Let me back up. This was a world in a desert living, oh my God, I can't speak right now. This is a desert dwelling civilization, and these people have these races. I don't know how often, but a few times a year it sounds like, where they race these monsters that are out in the wilderness, and they can control the monsters through like their minds, where they can basically like think really hard at the monsters and the monsters have to do what they say. But this world believes in, they haven't used the word, but reincarnation, and humans, if they do good things, will be reincarnated as pleasant animals like birds and monkeys and lions, like majestic creatures. And humans, if they do bad things, will be reincarnated as like gross creatures, like dung beetles, you get it. But if someone is an evil human, they're reincarnated as this monster. And once you're reincarnated as this monster, that's it. Like, you cannot be brought back as anything else except for a monster. Unless you win this race, in which case the winner of the race, the human winner, gets lots of money. The monster winner gets to be like returned to their human form, I believe. I'm still figuring that part out just a little bit. So what's really cool is there's like no doubt about like reincarnation in this book. They have these people called augurs who were thought to have done really good in their past lives, and so they've been gifted this ability to read people's souls in the present life. And so they will do readings for people where they are like, they'll tell you like, oh, your life is on track, you're going to be a good person, or you're going to be a good animal in your next life, or you're going to be blessed in your next life, or you're not doing great, you need to turn things around, you need to make up for the wrongs you did. And because of politics and everything, you are, if you have that gift, if you were like blessed with the gift of being an augur, you are required to become an augur. You are not allowed to say no to that because they need them. So we're following 4 people. The first one we follow is this woman who used to be a racer, and she had some accidents and is no longer able to physically race, and so now she's a trainer. And there was an accident recently with one of her students where the student was, I believe, killed. I know how it happened now, but I don't remember how much you know at the beginning of the book. She is kind of considered a bad trainer, even though like she's kind of the essence of a trainer who doesn't follow the rules but still has success. So other trainers don't like her because she doesn't follow their rules. And none of the students, because a lot of the racing now is just like rich kids coming down, like trying to do something fun for a few days, a month, and they decide to race these beasts and then leave. So she trains a lot of rich people because they pay well. So she needs to win the race because her daughter is training to be an augur, and if she doesn't have enough money, they will take her daughter away and train her at like the university. But if she pays, her daughter can live at home with her and she can see her daughter, and her daughter can still like go to training. So that's why she wants the money, so that she can be with her daughter. And then there's this girl who, don't remember any names. She was training to be an augur and basically failed out of school because she wasn't powerful enough, didn't know how to do it, whatever. And so when she returned to her family was like, well, we paid all of this money for you to be trained as an augur, because even though augur school is required, you still have to pay to do it. Yeah, politics. And so they're very rich anyways, but they were like, we don't really care about you. So they were going to marry her off to a rich man to earn the money back that she had wasted at the school. So she ran away, met up with the trainer, and was like, if you train me to race, I will win. I will be able to take my share and pay back my parents so I don't owe them anything. You will be able to pay for your daughter's school and pay off all your debts and bills from like killing a student. So that's that side of the story, and it's really interesting. I like learning about them a lot. And then there's this emperor, and his brother was in line to be emperor, but his parents are dead. His brother died almost mysteriously, it kind of seems. I think it was some kind of sickness that like quickly took him. And so the brother was now next in line to be emperor, and he was like never supposed to be emperor, so he is dealing with that kind of stuff. And he unfortunately isn't allowed to take the throne until they find the animal that his brother was reincarnated into. And so it's been a few months, and people are starting to doubt that he's actually supposed to be the leader because of the lack of ability to find his brother. So there's a coup where some of like the nobility want to kill him off and put a new person in place, and some of the people want to like give him a shot and really want him to be the emperor. After that, there is this augur. So he's kind of like a high priest, but I don't think that's the title they give the augurs. So he is like a pretty powerful augur, and he has been best friends with the soon-to-be emperor, the one that's still alive who isn't quite emperor yet. They're really good friends, and so he wants to see his friend succeed. And so the augurs have been sent out into the land because they can look into the eyes of a creature and see their past lives, and so they've been sent out to find the past emperor. So this augur has not been sent out because he's like high enough up, but he's like, I'm powerful enough, I want my friend to succeed, so I'm gonna go out into the world and try to find the emperor. Now, I have no proof of this, but I'm like pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure that the creature that the trainer bought to race with, because it's a new creature, they said like he was just now, this is like his first time being a monster, I'm pretty sure it's the emperor. I think like if you heard my description right there, you agree with me, but I have no proof and I don't know for sure. He just seems to be kind of different than the other monsters and stuff, and if they race and win and he becomes human again, that would make sense. We'll see. I'm loving the book though. Right now, I think it's gonna be a 5-star. Really enjoying it. Think it's fantastic. The writing's really good, the characters are really good and believable but diverse and varied. The atmosphere is amazing. I just love like desert fantasies, so also that's probably why I'm really enjoying it. I'm falling in love with the main protagonist of a fantasy world being like a middle-aged mom. I don't know why, but I'm just like, I've been reading a few of those recently, and even if I dislike them, I'm like, I really liked that part of it. So yeah, now we're back here at the end of this video. I ended up reading like nothing of Race the Sands the other day. I think I made it another 5%. I'm about 30% through the book. I'm still really liking it, and I'm definitely going to be finishing it hopefully tomorrow, but that'll be part of a different reading vlog, not this one. Stay tuned for more reading next week. Thanks for watching. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye.